That's better. We're now recording. US accountants showing the way. Christian Wheelich, the CEO of Plan Guru, made the following comments yesterday in a webinar we had about the evolution of services by USA accounting firms for SMEs. He indicated that services are being provided by traditional accounting firms. That means in the past mainly attended to preparation of tax returns and annual financial accounts, but also a range of other businesses that he's described as bank managers, finance executives, and accountants who have spent their entire career in the corporate world rather than in public practices. And this group of people, accounting firms and this other group of professionals, is now being referred to in the United States as fractional CPAs. Perhaps that term will take off in Australia. One of his comments was that repetitive tasks can be replaced with fractional chief financial officer services. And this is what has created this interest in the US amongst SMEs. There's a position where now there's greater scrutiny being shown to profit and loss accounts and balance sheets. But in profit and loss accounts, the terminology sales is being challenged by some people and saying we need a lot more information about sales. Let's break sales into categories. And I know personally that is what I've done in some of my consultancy assignments, where the client's got a number of different selling activities. Break it down, don't include it all under sales. That's all right for the tax accounts, but it's not very good for management accounts, which is what this whole emphasis is on, supplying information to your clients, which will assist them with their future operations. The accounting system, according to Christian Wheelich, needs to produce accurate, timely, sufficiently detailed financial assistance to be able to assist in projecting the future for their clients. This is why we've chosen the terminology, which is one of the comments Andrew Geddes made recently in a podcast: accountants must diversify now, because SMEs need assistance. And quite frankly, annual set of accounts and a tax return don't give the assistance that SMEs need, especially in this current market. So I think the same trend is occurring in Australia and is expected to gather pace over the next couple of years. SMEs want new services, additional services, services which will help them survive. So let's look at some of the trends that are occurring in the marketplace. Digitization and robotics and artificial intelligence will simplify basic compliance production. So for those of you who have been saying we're too busy to do these other tasks, even though we know SMEs want them, well, technology is going to help you. But one of the things you need to be concerned about is, are there going to be the SME clients that want these additional services? Because some of them will also be using the technology and employing either full-time or part-time accountants themselves to do that work, especially if they have a belief that their traditional accounting supplier is not interested in doing this work. So I would be giving some urgency to the consideration as to when you are going to fully implement the advisory services. The ATO, of course, are pushing for changes. They're doing that through collaboration with software producers to enable the software to handle some of the work that accounting firms and tax return firms had been doing in the past. And there's an expectation of reduction in basic compliance work, which will affect accountancy firms. What are you going to replace that work with? But the timing of when you move for that replacement work, I think, is important, and it's something that you should be factoring into your planning. SME clients need to grow profitably and survive. It's the way the world works. If businesses don't continue to grow, most of them ultimately die. Why don't you sit back and think about the businesses that were located in your area 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you're old enough to be able to do that, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It's amazing how many have disappeared, or put another way, it's amazing how few of the firms that you can remember from your teenage years that are still in existence. So this trend is also happening now today. How are you going to help this generation of clients survive? I think 23, 24 is going to be a very difficult year. We've got high interest rates, high inflation, and this recurring comment that we might be going to get a recession. SME clients need strong financial advisory input to help them in their businesses. Team members want career interesting work. This is one of the forgotten issues, I think. Accountants all around Australia tell me they're having trouble in hiring and then retaining talent. Andrew Geddes has addressed this in a number of our podcasts and webinars over the last 18 months. And he has always been saying the same thing. It's how you treat, in particular, younger graduates when they come to work in your firms. That's the type of work they're given. It's the exposure that they're given to real business issues that are very important. And it is the type of services that your firm is offering. So instead of having them sitting there all day, every day, preparing tax returns, undertaking advisory work, this diversification that we're referring to will assist in, first of all, attracting talent, and secondly, in retaining it. So there was a new mantra published recently: the past has no future. I think that's important. And Thomson Reuters chose a very appropriate heading, I thought, for their recent white paper. The past has no future. We need to be helping our clients think about the future. And this is the diversification that we're referring to in the title for this conversation. Accountants must diversify now. What does a basic virtual Chief Financial Officer service offer? I've listed what we at ESS BIZTOOLS think the services are, and hopefully you as our subscribers will be implementing these. Firstly, conduct a 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep analysis to gain an in-depth client knowledge. This was a suggestion made by the gentleman that the CEO of Plan Guru, Christian Wheelich, believes is the rock star of American accounting, Adam Hale. Because before taking on any client, he undertakes this due diligence analysis. He wants to know the client 1 inch wide, 1 mile deep. Preparation of business plan and strategic plans are important because that sets out the vision that the leadership team, the directors have for the business. And then the financial interpretation of that business plan is what is contained within predictive accounts. The budget, the key drivers, that's all the sub-accounts, debtors, creditors, team members, energy utilization, research and development, a whole summary of sub-accounts are included within the key drivers. The cash flow forecast, which obviously will indicate whether the business is going to have a funding problem, and the projected balance sheet. It's a great document to be able to show your client that if these financial projections are implemented, as long as they occur, of course, this is what your financial position in your business will look like in 3 or 5 or 10 years' time, if you want to go that much down the track. This is real accounting work. Implement the 52-week business enhancement system. But what does that include? For many businesses, daily KPI reports, especially in retail, wholesale, and probably plenty of other businesses when you think about it. But they all want to know what happened today, not at the end of the week, what happened today, because they might be able to change something for tomorrow. I think a weekly performance and profit estimate reports with key performance indicators is vital for all businesses. And that's why we're calling this the 52-week business enhancement system. The information that most of our SMEs receive from the accounting profession in Australia, I don't think is up to scratch. They need more information. They need systems established. The weekly performance and profit estimate report probably can be calculated by the internal office manager, but the system needs to be set up. They need to be trained. This is a job you should be doing, I think, for your clients. And then monitoring it, checking it each week and making sure that if there are mistakes being made, they're corrected. Now, big business does this. I was the chief financial officer, company secretary of a listed public company. We were in the meat industry, retail butcher shops, major international meat works, thousands of people working at them. Other businesses, but all were preparing weekly profitability estimates. It's what the CEO ran the company on. That's what the individual managers responsible for those operations ran their operations on. They weren't waiting for monthly accounts. And most definitely, they weren't relying on the annual accounts. So why should your clients? So as an ESS BIZTOOLS subscriber, that's what I would be urging you to make sure you're fully implementing. Monthly financial accounts with comparison to budget. It's part of the 52-week vision, the 12 monthly accounts with a working capital analysis on things like debtors. What's the debtors days outstanding? What follow-up needs to be done? Creditors days outstanding. Are the major creditors being paid within their payment times that they've stipulated, especially the creditors who supply vital products for your clients? What would happen if the supplier said you're too slow in making payments, you're supposed to pay them every 30 days, you're taking 43 days, I'm cutting off supply? What would that do to your client's business? Monthly financial report written by you as the virtual chief financial officer. Participation at the monthly business review meeting. Making sure the accounts are closely evaluated. It might be a trading business you've got, and the results are going to indicate that the profit target for the year will not be achieved. Some fine tuning may have to be done to the charge out rates that are being used. You are immediately available to pick up on the problem, the issues, and change it, just as you would if you were employed full time. The only difference is you're employed part-time in effect. You're not going to be there 40 hours every week or whatever. You're there part-time, but you set up the systems so that the information can flow and so that you can give advice. What other information besides the straight accounting, financial projections, the future, can you also help your clients? I think the big one is research and development tax offset. First of all, making sure your client understands how that system operates and that they're in the right entity because they have to be in the company. And then within ESS BIZTOOLS, if you're a advanced subscriber, you have an access to our full package, 12 sections of it, to implement the research and development system for your clients. And if you're a starter package subscriber, you will have access to 2 of those segments within research and development, so you can at least give some advice to your client. And if you wish, you can subscribe to the research and development package on a standalone basis if you've got clients that need more assistance than what they will get from the first 2 packages that we have. The scaling up process. This is important. How are you going to assist your client to go from a basic business to a fast growing business? Some of these issues are going to be covered by what we've already referred to in the 52-week accounting cycle, the advisory board concept, and then in some of these following items: funding for research and development and business growth. Where's the client going to get it from? Because one thing that is very obvious is as business grow, they need more money. So where is the money going to come from? It could come from some government grants, especially if your client has been undertaking research and development. They may then be eligible for a further grant. Might be that they need some assistance on calculating charge out rates, which will generate targeted profit. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. They might need some assistance on risk avoidance. Personal property securities register is a perfect example. Businesses can get into all sorts of strife by ignorance of that legislation. Corporate governance understanding is important because you wouldn't want your client getting caught up in a public fight over or exposure over not complying with legal requirements for the operation of a company. And I think your client should be looking to run the business as if it was a larger business, but retaining the flexibility of being an SME. Think about it. Think about it, please. One of the things that big businesses do is get into a routine which happens daily, weekly, monthly. That's the 52-week system we are promoting. Daily, weekly, monthly. Unfortunately, with accounting firms that have traditionally prepared annual accounts and tax returns, there's some difficulty in accepting that for your corporate clients, it's daily, weekly, monthly. But that's part of the new strategies that are now needed. This is part of the diversification that your firm needs to think that way and implement that type of service for your clients. Okay, borrowing funds might be one of the key objectives. We've looked at grants. Now let's look at borrowing. Now, has your client got sufficient security that could be offered to secure a loan? Or you need to have a conversation with your client about raising capital. Now, until 4 or 5 years ago, this was a difficult process in Australia because all we had was Section 708 of the Corporations Act. Pardon me. But then we received the early stage innovation company and crowdsource funding, equity raising, both of which were instigated by Malcolm Turnbull when he was the Prime Minister. And Turnbull used his knowledge of the real business world, the capital raising world, where he made his own capital gains to ensure that legislation was passed that facilitates private companies being able to raise capital direct from the public. And we've got early stage innovation company targeted at companies under 3 years of age, under $200,000 in income and under $1 million in expenditure in the previous 12 months, that have done something. They've undertaken research and development. They've registered patents. They've got to pass some tests. But it's a great help. And the real benefit is there's something in it for the investors. The investors can get taxation benefit and potentially avoid capital gains tax on the shares that are allocated to them. So it's well worth looking at and making sure you are familiar with. And it's fully explained in a product package within the ESS BIZTOOLS advanced package. And the big one is crowdsourced funding equity raising. Targeted at companies with international turnovers of less than $25 million, gross value of assets anywhere in the world of less than $25 million, and not listed on a stock exchange anywhere in the world. Now, there is a process, and again, it's fully explained in the crowdsourced funding equity raising package within ESS BIZTOOLS advanced package that our subscribers can use. Now, these clients can raise up to $5 million in exchange for shares in the company. Now, they're all going to need business plans, budgets, cash flow forecasts, and an understanding of how this legislation works. So there's some interesting work for you and your team to introduce these services. Board of advice, membership and facilitation. Board of advisors are becoming a lot more popular, but they're not tea and scones sessions. They're serious work activities. Businesses are paying for the services of advisors. So it's an area to think about. Board of directors. With more and more businesses growing and then trying to attract external capital, they have had to face up to the responsibilities that directors have. And directors should have a balance of skills, not just all from one area. So some of your clients will be looking for people to appoint as directors. I think they should always have a financial person on their board. So there's an opportunity if you wish. And perhaps a role that's available for your firm to attend to is being the company secretary. The scaling up process is a great opportunity for accountants, especially when your client is small. They've got an aspiration to grow. They're currently perhaps having got a turnover of $300,000 or $400,000, but they aspire to have a turnover of $20 million within 5 years. They will need assistance, but most of them will not be able to afford a full-time chief financial officer. So you can be that key person offering that virtual CFO service for the first 3, 5, 10 years of the company's life. It might outgrow you, of course, but there will always be other companies coming along. So performing the virtual chief financial officer service, I put in there daily. So it's an ongoing role that your firm is supplying to that client. And I think someone in your team would be in contact with the client, even if it's just by the computers, on a daily basis, keeping an eye on what's happening, exactly as if you were sitting there as the full-time CFO. Now, we provide a wide range of services. Currently, ESS BIZTOOLS has got 32 product packages. We are working on expanding that by probably another 4 packages this year. So why not have a good look at it? And they're then put together, grouped together in the starter package, which is great for bookkeeping firms and small accounting firms that are wanting to get started. Advanced package is there for larger firms and also for firms that have already undertaken some advisory work, now want to formalize it, use better systems. And the finance package is the advanced package, plus you have a subscription to the Plan Guru software and are able to use that on 10 of your clients at any one time, as compared to the normal conditions that Plan Guru sell that software. License that, and that is only 3 firms, and you pay extra for the other 7 or the other whatever number you require over 10. So those packages are there to help you deliver outstanding services to your clients. I hope that you're really using them to achieve that. We supply you some services each month to help you deliver these types of services. The Business Plus monthly newsletter. All you've got to do is badge it. I'd suggest you read it before and then send it on to your clients. And then follow them up. Pick the articles that might appeal to individual clients. Give them a ring 3 or 4 days after you send out the Business Plus article. Ask them what they thought, especially on a particular article. Did you read that article that's in our newsletter about budgeting and cash flow forecasts and projected balance sheets? Would you like us to do that predictive accounting work for you? We're going to help you plan the future. It's worth the phone call, isn't it? We have a monthly webinar that we pick a subject, mainly with an area within ESS BIZTOOLS, and we run a webinar. You're most welcome to come. I know some of you like to look at those webinars in your own time. That's okay. But we would like to see more of you attending our webinars. And monthly members alert. We put out a newsletter each month, a few days after the Business Plus edition has been uploaded. And incidentally, it's uploaded to our website at 12 noon on the 2nd Friday of a month. We're very proud of the fact that we really miss that 12 noon, 2nd Friday of the month. Sometimes we've advised you that we are deferring for 1 week the production of Business Plus. That's normally to do with the federal budget being brought down or some other event like that. So the monthly members alert is an interesting overview of things that are happening, including more comments on the articles within Business Plus to give you some information that might help you in approaching a client about those particular services that are mentioned in Business Plus. So thank you very much for your support of ESS BIZTOOLS. We look forward to your continued support throughout 2023-24. I don't see that we've got any questions. I probably should have asked if people wanted to ask questions, but I don't see that we have any. So thank you very much for being with us today. I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions or suggestions on products and services to be included within ESS BIZTOOLS. And if you know other practitioners around Australia who you think could benefit from our services, we would appreciate it if you would give them an introduction to the team at ESS BIZTOOLS. Thank you. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye. And we look forward to talking to you again next month. In the meantime, if you have any particular questions, please contact us. Goodbye.